Lots of people believe King Charles III is the total opposite of his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. While Her Majesty earned the title of the greatest monarch in history, many couldn't imagine Charles in the position of king. Some royal experts suggested that even the Queen herself didn't want to pass the crown to her son.
He annoyed his parents. Actually, they felt he was weak. They felt they couldn't trust him to be king.
These speculations ran wild during the last years of Her Majesty's life. Even when Elizabeth II was in her mid-90s, she didn't retire from her position. It was obviously difficult for the Queen to handle long official events and to manage some official meetings.
Well, as you can see, I can't move.
Charles at that time was the most prepared king-in-waiting in history, and it would have been easier for Her Majesty to pass the responsibilities on to her son, especially as it is quite normal practice among sovereigns. However, even 2 days before her death, at the age of 96, the Queen was still on her feet, fulfilling her duty. She appointed the new Prime Minister herself. So was Charles really not good enough in his mother's eyes? In fact, it wasn't a matter of Charles's competence. Her Majesty never retired because of the strong sense of duty and the promise she'd made to her nation.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Even Charles himself shared that her service to the nation was his mother's life purpose.
That was more than a promise. It was a profound personal commitment which defined her whole life.
In order to keep her promise to the country, the Queen was not always able to be a caring mother. She went on royal tours across the globe and didn't see Charles for several months. As a monarch and pillar for the whole country, Elizabeth II also couldn't show her soft side in public, even when it came to her own son. Obviously, Her Majesty couldn't form a traditional mother and child relationship with Charles. Still, the Queen always held a special place in her son's heart. She was a role model for him.
Throughout her life, Her Majesty the Queen, my beloved mother, was an inspiration, an example to me and to all my family.
As time passed, Queen Elizabeth II's promise to her nation grew increasingly challenging to uphold, and Charles was there for the Queen. Reports suggest that he shared dispatch boxes with his mother and did a lot of her paperwork. Her Majesty's eldest son arranged strategic meetings with several world leaders to help lighten the late Queen's schedule. Behind palace doors, Charles was known as the Shadow King for many years. In 2017, when Prince Philip retired from public duties, Charles assumed the role of official consort for the Queen. He accompanied his mother on official events, and also stepped in for her at critical moments. For instance, when Her Majesty wasn't feeling her best, Charles represented her at the ceremonial opening of Parliament in 2022.
Her Majesty's government's priority is to grow and strengthen the economy and help ease the cost of living for families.
Elizabeth II was happy to have such a strong shoulder to lean on in hard times. Staff members revealed that the two formed a special connection in the Queen's last few years. This was obvious by some of their interactions.
Your Majesty, Mummy.
It seems like the two made up for lost time and started to understand each other better. Previously, the late monarch battled to find common ground with the then Prince of Wales. Firstly, they had lots of conflicts due to his private life. When Charles decided to divorce Princess Diana back in the 1990s, he apparently deeply hurt his mother. The Queen was also against his decision to remarry. Even when she approved Charles's wish after years of quarrels, she famously didn't attend his wedding to Camilla, and certainly didn't plan to give her the title of Queen. Only last year, during her Platinum Jubilee, Elizabeth II announced that Camilla will be known as Queen Consort when the time comes. The late Queen seemed to finally realise how much Camilla means to Charles. He waited for his mother's blessing for ages, not only in his private life. He also had his own vision for charity projects he wanted to work with. He didn't always do his duties in the traditional royal manner, though. He brought lots of issues to the table, like sustainability and equality, which weren't popular topics. The then heir to the throne founded the Prince's Trust, a huge charity that helps vulnerable young people find a job. But several decades had to pass before the Queen labelled Charles an innovator in the royal family and showed her respect to his job.
I would like to take this opportunity to say to you, Charles, how proud I am of everything you have accomplished with the Trust, and the way you personally have inspired this organization.
The late monarch and her son didn't only share strict royal ethics. When Charles took the throne, he was immediately labelled the Green King. On top of his numerous eco-charities, His Majesty shows what sustainable living is through his own example. He consumes food from his own organic farm, skips meat several days a week, and uses electricity from solar panels at his home. Charles said that he inherited his love of the environment from his mother. Throughout her historic 70-year reign, Queen Elizabeth II was an unwavering advocate for the environment. She was famous for setting the trend for recycling, from her outfits to furniture and even wrapping paper for gifts. The Queen regularly planted commemorative trees, and she often united with her son for initiatives. Apparently they could plan new projects and discuss some issues for hours together. In her last years, Her Majesty expressed more than once how grateful she is to her son for his service to the country.
It is a source of great pride to me that the leading role my husband played in encouraging people to protect our fragile planet lives on through the work of our eldest son, Charles, and his eldest son, William. I could not be more proud of them.
The Queen was famous for her love of dogs. Her corgis were Her Majesty's constant companions throughout her life. And just like his mother, Charles is an avid dog lover. Growing up, he took care of a lot of the Queen's corgis. He also joined Her Majesty on walks with her pets. And as an adult, Charles has always had dogs at his residences. For instance, right now, the King and Queen Camilla have 2 Jack Russell Terriers, Bluebell and Beth. The pets accompany them on lots of outings and feature prominently in photos. Just compare these 2 magazine covers. Isn't it heartwarming? One more type of animal the mother and son adored: horses. In his younger years, Charles was a world-class polo player. Some sports experts said that if he wasn't an heir to the throne, he could have made sports his full-time career. Similar speculation surrounded Queen Elizabeth's talents with horses. However, given that polo wasn't very popular among women, Her Majesty used to love horse riding. Queen Elizabeth owned lots of racing horses in her life, and she was an avid fan of races. Who can forget her facial expressions during these sporting events? And Charles is too. His Majesty was moved to tears at this year's Royal Ascot when a horse bred by his late mother won its race. This move only proves what a special bond the King had with his beloved mother. Despite their differences, they shared 2 fundamental traits: unwavering devotion to their country and compassionate hearts.
As the Queen herself did with such unswerving devotion, I too now solemnly pledge myself, throughout the remaining time God grants me, to uphold the constitutional principles at the heart of our nation.
And as Charles continues to carry out his reign, royal experts believe Her Majesty would be very proud of her son.